applicants.
Good evening. I would like to call the June 7th, 2017 Amery City Council meeting to order. Fran, would you take the roll call, please?
Certainly. Strobish?
Here.
Raymond Schneider?
Here.
Paulson?
Here.
Erickson?
Here.
Vicker?
Here.
Davis?
Here.
And Van Blarkum.
Here.
Thank you. Sherry Berg is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And item 3, we will go into closed session proceedings under Wisconsin Statute 91.85, Parent 1, Parent E, to deliberate or negotiate the purchasing of public property and to conduct specific public business for competitive or bargaining reasons. This is in regards to hiring a recruiter for the city administrator position. We will continue in closed session proceeding under Wisconsin Statute 19.85, Parent 1, Parent C, to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. This is in regards to the management analyst position. We need a motion.
So moved. So why are we going into closed session? Over the recruiter thing?
For competitive bargaining reasons and negotiating a contract and per the advice of the city attorney. That's how it's being handled.
Okay.
I second the motion.
Roll call.
Certainly. Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Vicker?
Yes.
Paulson?
Yes.
Raymond Schneider?
Yes.
And Strobish?
No.
Consensus, we are in closed session.
Oh, I know what it is. Back. I remember now.
We are back in open session. Thank you all for waiting for us. Item 5 on the agenda, hiring a recruitment firm to conduct a search for a new city administrator and associated budget amendment.
I would like to make a motion that we hire and retain David Drown Associates, Gary Wires, as our recruitment firm to conduct the search for the new city administrator.
I second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to hire DDA, Us Human Resources, Inc. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Gary, for coming.
Thank you.
We look forward to working with you.
I'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excuse
Number
me,
6.
before we move on, can I
Yes.
can I mention the budget amendment?
Oh, yes.
As part of that, my recommendation would be to amend the budget to pay for that expense out of the rainy day fund.
I'll make a motion that we amend the current year budget to pay for this recruitment firm from our rainy day budget fund.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
What was the cost of that?
We'll
19,000.
do that at the end.
$19,000.
$19,000. Yeah.
Minutes from the May 3rd meeting, May 31st meeting, and June 1st meeting, please. They're in your packets.
Make a motion to approve all 3.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve all the minutes from the May and June 1st. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Upcoming events. Judy, would you like to come on?
Oh, I sure would.
Okay. Since I saw you come in like about 4:30 this afternoon, so.
I had some other errands to run,
Oh,
so I
good.
thought, well. Good evening, everyone. I have 3 different events that are coming up very soon at the senior center, or I should say community center. Are you a healthy sleeper? If not, you may be very interested in attending this discussion called General Sleep, Health, and Wellness Seminary, or Seminar. This seminar is no charge and is open to the public. It is being held on Tuesday, June 13th at 1 p.m. at the Amery Community Center. Registration is required. So please call Carrie or Susan at 715-268-6605 by June 8th, which is tomorrow. Marcia Nelson from the Sleep Wellness Center will be presenting information on general sleep health and wellness along with a review of the most common sleep disorders. This sounds like a very interesting subject, which I know that a lot of people have a problem with. Our second event is a rustic cross wall hanging class that we're going to have. This is a quick and easy craft class, and there is no experience required. The canvas, brushes, paints, table covers, and burlap will be provided. And each participant is asked to bring a decorative center pin, brooch, or a large earring, or any bedazzlement that you want. Perhaps something sentimental in value is suggested. Each participant will go home with their own beautiful 8x10 cross wall hanging. This event will be held on Wednesday, June 21st at 6 p.m. Cost will be $10 cash or $10 check made payable to Andrea Jillick. We ask that you register and pay by Monday, June 15th. Our third event is getting to know an author who happens to be the daughter-in-law of Clint and Ione Jardee. I think he was a teacher, wasn't he, Kate?
Yes,
at one
art
time?
teacher. And she was a middle school
Okay.
language arts teacher.
They're longtime native residents of Amery. This will be an opportunity to visit with the author, Kate Jardee, who is married to their son, John, who goes by the pen name of Kate Ann Kang, K-A-N-G. Kate will be talking about her book, which is named Given Away, and will entertain a question and answer session and also do a book signing. Refreshments will be provided by Ione Jardee and the Community Center. This event is free and open to the public and will be presented on Thursday, June 22nd at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So this is all that I have for you tonight. So thanks for your time and have an awesome evening.
Thank you.
Thank
Judy.
you.
Sherry Berg has something for us.
I'm here to remind everybody about the 40th Annual Art Fair. Seems like we've been coming here a while, but I think I started at number 37. The art fair is Saturday, June 17th in North Park, and we have getting close to 100 vendors. So we'd love people to come out and buy their goodies. They have very unique, crafty, woodworking, jewelry, stuff to buy. So we'd love it if everybody would come out and take a stroll and see what they have to offer. If you don't buy anything, Saturday in North Park's always good, and we always pray for no rain. And while I have a captive audience, I also want to remind people that the Arnell Humane Society garage sale is Saturday, and that helps fund the care of the animals and the shelter. And I stopped and dropped my stuff off, and they've got a lot of goodies. So if you're in town on Amery this Saturday, stop at Arnell. Next Saturday, come to North Park and buy some art fair stuff.
Thank you, Sherry. Let's see. Tomorrow morning from 10 to 12 is coffee and cookies with myself and Fran and anybody else on the council who wants to show up at Ellie's Parlor. So invite you to come there. And Betty Collins usually is here to talk about the backpack fundraiser that will be Friday at the fire hall from 4 to 8. And it's a fundraiser for the backpack program, and everybody's familiar with that, feeding hungry kids during the school year and then also during the summer. So it's a really good event to come to. There's a silent auction and food and music and who knows what else, a duck tank, and I understand that Chance has signed up for that. No, he's shaking his head no. Okay, all right. So,
I think Joey did that last year, didn't he?
I don't know. So anyway, so that's
Just saying,
that's a good fundraiser to have. And so I hope everybody comes to that. And then, of course, Music on the River starts on June 16th. So lots of things going on. Thank you. Any other upcoming events? All right.
The orchestra's playing at the
Yeah, farmer's
The what?
market.
farmer's market on Monday.
Oh, that's right. Farmers
So
market starts?
Farmer's market's open and then has music Monday.
Yes. And, okay, how about the Arts Alliance? Isn't there something at the theater coming up soon?
June
Yes, they got an open
22nd.
house.
June 22nd.
June 22nd.
Open house and preview show.
Okay. At,
Starts at 6 with wine and cheese and goes at 7 with the show itself.
okay, wine and cheese, 6 to 7. Okay, that's important, yeah, no.
Yes, we did get permission for the wine and cheese.
They have the correct licenses. I can
Oh,
confirm that.
good. We'd hate to shut you down.
Those cheese licenses don't come easy.
Especially in Wisconsin.
Oh,
Hey, Erickson. Tomorrow's also the Special Olympics Parade.
oh, that's right.
Escorting our athletes through town at 11 o'clock, starting at Sioux Line Park and escorting them to North Park. So we're asking that, I went around today just before this meeting to all the businesses and asked that they go out and cheer these athletes on. It means a lot to them.
I plan on coming out in front of Ellie's at 11 o'clock and waiting, otherwise I would have gone with them. Thanks, Joe. Okay. Any other upcoming events? Must be time to go home. Not yet. Okay, officers' reports. Fire chief is not here. Library is not here. Public Works is here. Mr. McCarty.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just wanted to update you on what the crew's been up to. Usually I'm pretty short and brief about it, but Memorial Day last Monday, we had a couple of guys come in. They had to turn the water main off down in front of SMC in order to repair a hydrant that was outside their building. They've also been working on some storm sewer inlets in the alley behind Produce Building and a couple other ones, rebuilding them. I also want to warn the public that probably next week sometime, we're probably going to close down Harriman Avenue in front of Water's Edge for probably about a half a day. We're going to tear that all up and put a new base in there. And then hopefully it won't be too long before Monarch comes to town. I haven't seen them. They're supposed to do some other roads for us. But in order to save money, rather than have them grind that road up, we decided to tear it up ourselves. In the past, we've had them mill it, and then we'll go in and tear the base up and put new base in. As you know, that road's in disrepair in front of that building. A few years ago, we did it a few hundred feet down and it held up very well, so we're going to do the same thing again there. Also, the guys have put in a couple of pads for donated benches. Uncle Bob donated a bench to the city of Amery, and also there was a memorial bench to Marco Wasco, who was a resident here when I went to school. He went to school with my wife, but he passed away. He was public works director in a small city out in California, and they put together they had a little party for him here at one of the local establishments probably about 6 months ago. And the benches will be going up probably next week. The cement went in this morning. Give it a few days to cure, and then we'll bring the benches out. They are here. Anything else that I'm leaving off, Chance? Just wanted to, okay, and the dump is open. I still get calls. It's first and third Saturday of the month from 9 to noon. Also, during the week, if you call us, I know we've had it open several times this week for various residents. A few of us are a little more privileged than others. Other than that, business as usual.
Okay. Questions for Bones?
It's a great privilege.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Police Department, Joe Burkant.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Councilman, members of the community. I just wanted to go over a few things. First, thanks for allowing me to open up and talk about the Special Olympics. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. I've been doing it for a couple of years, and it absolutely puts a smile on everyone's face, and it's just amazing to see the community partake in it. I mean, you'll see some crying and some emotions going on. I love it. So last month, we were able to identify and apprehend the suspect of the 4 burglaries and damage to property of the chief squad and the city squad. After the initial arrest and investigation, the suspect confessed to the crimes. Yesterday, I communicated with the DA's office. They advised me that they would have him charged for the damage to property crimes today or tomorrow, and I looked while at the table. They haven't been charged today, so I'm guessing they'll be charged tomorrow. Last month's letter to the Free Press was regarding in securing our neighborhoods and personal property. Please partner with us and assist us in lessening victimization and just being vigilant with your property. Just last week, just down the road from you, Mayor Kay, we had 2 cars that were stolen. The keys were left inside of them and they're unlocked. I mean, that's a significant issue. Let's not be like that, okay? A couple weeks ago, I was able to advocate drug awareness in our schools for Mrs. Larson's class. And I was able to pretty much head on just the discussion of what drugs do and the dysfunction and addictions behind them that go hand in hand with drug use. Several of our officers participated in a special traffic grant that initially was funded and headed by the Polk County Sheriff's Department through grants. And school's out, we want to remind everyone that there's going to be extra kids in pedestrian traffic this summer, and just to be cautious and mindful of those people in town. I also wanted to thank the council for the opportunity to attend the workshop or assessment out at WAPO. It was something good. It reminded me of a systems thinking class that I took at Concordia University and a lot of the leadership police organizations courses I attended. And I'll definitely take some things away, especially this, just communicating more with you guys. And it's nice to see that we're all on the same page and that our goals are aligned. And I'm excited for moving forward with the progression here. So, and lastly, I wanted to thank the community club for awarding me the Employee of the Year. It's an awesome to see that others can see a lot of hard work over the past 2.5 years, and second, that people are okay with that work. So I will continue to try my best and hopefully make this place even better in the future. So outside that, I just wanted to also thank Jessica for allowing me to advocate and give a voice to a lot of the things that I care about in our community. So I appreciate that through the paper. Also, you guys were given the monthly report.
Right.
Any questions or comments with that? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Clerk Treasurer, Fran?
Yes. Joe Ryder.
Okay, well, I want to congratulate Joe on winning the award from the Amery Community Club as well. He is very worthy, and it's always nice to be recognized. And we appreciate you, Joe.
Thank you.
A couple of things going on is that there's been a lot of activity with zoning and building permits, especially fences. I had the pleasure of coming back from Memorial Day weekend and having 6 voicemails from 6 different parties that they wanted to put a fence up. So I don't know if that means they had a bad weekend or not, but lots of activity with zoning and building, decks, fences, people wanting to put in garden sheds, things of that nature. The newly formed Tourism Commission has met. And they did designate the Amery Community Club as the entity to receive the 70% of room tax monies and dollars that are collected by the city to be used for tourism. So they met, and we did remit our first quarterly. 70% has been remitted to the Amery Community Club. And we will meet on a quarterly basis and review and keep turning those funds over in accordance with state statutes. Also, we did have a meeting on the proposed site of the hotel with representatives of Polk County regarding the property that's owned by the county that is crucial to the development of the hotel and the site there. So we'll be revisiting that issue coming up in our Parks Committee meetings and talking about possibilities for that property as well and how we can facilitate the hotel development. We've had a few insurance claims, kind of all in a row. Just the hail damage, the vandalism. We had somebody run into the book thing over at the library, the book drop thing. So kind of some odd things there. As well, I just want to say I'm completely in agreement with Joe, and also want to thank the City Council for the opportunity we had last week to work on the one-day workshops with the city organizational consultant. And I want to say as well that I view that there definitely were many positive things that are going to come out of that, and certainly a worthwhile endeavor for us, and I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to do that as well. So other than that, I think I've pretty much covered what I had for tonight. Everything else is on the agenda that we've been working on.
Thanks, Fran. I think the council all appreciated last week at WAPO too. It was really well, it was a good day. David, management analyst.
Hey, first of all, the update on the water recreation study. The surveys that were sent out with the first quarter utility bills, those have been received, and we've closed that. Received over 430 responses to those surveys, so it was really good. Actually, percentage-wise, there's actually more than we even received for the housing study, so it's really great to see. Next steps, so the next couple of weeks, we'll be looking at that data, taking an in-depth analysis of that data, doing some additional research as to different water recreation options that may be available to the city, and then drafting the report. Right now, the expectation is that the presentation on that will be made at the August City Council meeting. As an update to the walkability policy alternatives we've been working on, later this month at the Public Works Committee meeting, we will be having a discussion regarding the direction of those policy alternatives and where the council would like to see those go, and in the formulation of the full report and kind of policy document on that. City website, as you know, we've been updating the city website over the last couple months. As of the end of May, or as of now, online reservations and payments for reserving of city park facilities is officially live. So that includes all of the campsites at North Park, and the shelters at North Park, Sioux Line Park, Michael Park, etc. So any facilities at the parks, you can now reserve and pay for those online. Patrons still do have the option to come to City Hall and pay in person as well. And while reservations are not required to use one of the park's facilities, they are public facilities. The advantage to making a reservation is that it's an all-day reservation, and then you do have sole rights to that facility on the day you make the reservation. Also with the website, the next step in updating the website will be integrating, as I think I mentioned last month, integrating online payments for utility bills and court fines, just starting that up. And so the goal is to have that all ready to go for second quarter utility billing in July. Last thing is just kind of an update of what's going to be coming up next down the road. As part of the 2017 budget process, the council approved a 2-year ordinance recodification. So we're going to have someone come in and work with the city on all of our ordinances, making sure that they're up to date to all current local, state, and federal laws, and just getting them all up to date, weeding out those that are old. Fran and I will be beginning this process this month, starting with development and distribution of requests for proposals, or RFPs, for firms to conduct the recodification. Any questions? Yes?
How far out can you reserve a shelter? I mean, how many days out?
As far as you want.
So over like a year or?
Mm-hmm.
I think if you would take a look at our ordinances, it would be a year out.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the website,
Oh, the website functionality
Yeah.
Yeah.
part of it?
how far, is it 6 months out that you can reserve it?
The calendar, when you reserve, you'll go, okay, I want the large shelter at North Park. It pops up a calendar and you pick your date. And it'll go out as far as, ordinance says a year, it'll go out a year.
Got it. Thank you.
And then it'll even do day of if you need to do day of as well.
Thank you.
Website looks good.
Thank you.
It's a monstrosity of, well, there's just so much information on it and so many options and keeping it fresh and up to date is challenging. It looks good.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Committee reports. Finance?
Okay, the Finance Committee met back on May 23rd, and we had a very busy agenda, and some of these things are on the agenda tonight, so I won't go over everything, but we discussed what Joe had brought up about the vandalism to the police vehicle and the chief's vehicle, and as a committee we discussed picking up any of the miscellaneous charges on the chief's vehicle, personal vehicle, as it was part of the vandalism of a police officer, and we can't do anything. We tabled that until we know that the individual's been charged, and apparently he hasn't been fully charged for that yet. So we'll address that in our next finance meeting. Subject of campground fees, I'm not sure if it's in place, but our committee discussed changing the fees from $40 a night to $30 a night, and we did agree as a committee to do that, and that's on the agenda later on tonight. We discussed payroll services that the city of Amery right now is providing to the Lake and River District, and it was our consensus that we no longer continue that service to the Lake and River District as it's creating problems. We're not in the business of being an accounting and payroll service to begin with, and it's commingling employees that are with another organization with our city. So we will discontinue providing payroll services after this summer's services are up. We also discussed, and we are going to recommend a different call-in and overtime policy for the maintenance department, similar to what we have with the police department, because we do call in our maintenance people at odd hours, and we want them to be compensated with overtime rather than forcing them to work certain other hours to make up for that time. Because if a sewer breaks in the middle of the night on a Saturday night, we want it fixed. We don't want them to be discouraged from coming in. So we will have we're recommending a new overtime policy for the maintenance department. And we also went into closed session, and we did discuss the lease agreement with the Amery Community Center, and I think we're almost there. We had a couple recommendations that the city would fund the organization annually, which we already do now. We just don't have a current lease at $25,000 annually, and we had a couple other paragraph provisions that we wanted to be on the same page with the community center, such as the appliances, and we put those provisions into the lease, and I think it's close to being
I think you could call it a tentative agreement.
It's a tentative agreement.
Yep, they came and one of their board members came and saw me about it, and they have tentatively looked it over, and we just need to change a few words here and there, and I expect that that'll be on the agenda of our next meeting for approval.
Well, that'd be good, because we haven't had it updated at least for some time. And that's pretty much what we had. Everything else is on the agenda tonight, so that's it for finance.
Thank you, Rick. Parks and Recreation.
Rick left, huh? So is that you or me?
So who's the co-chair?
Who's
It's you.
who has
Me?
best memory?
So we met on the 22nd. It was a good day. We discussed a field use agreement with Jorgensen Field. There's some cleaning up that needed to be done, and I think we're working towards that as far as costs and expenses and who does what to maintain the field and whatnot. And I'm guessing that's gonna come up again this month for further discussion.
Yeah, we have a meeting scheduled with representative of Jorgensen Field and the Softball Association, and then out of that meeting, we should have recommendations and things to bring back to Parks at the end of the month.
Okay. We also met with the Amery Cemetery Association regarding their funding issues and some funding constraints that they have over there. We kind of tabled it at this point because there's not a whole lot we can do until budget time comes around, as far as, is the city going to take over the city, is the city going to take over the cemetery, or can we assist the Cemetery Association in meeting their financial obligations? The pickleball courts on South Twin tennis courts are going up in a few weeks. Are you waiting for the nets to come in?
They're ordered as soon as they get here.
Yep, they are very excited about that. And then we discussed the signage of the city signage on Highway 8 in the Apple River Township. This is the sign that is west of the 46 roundabout. And we're working with the AEDC and the Tourism Commission on developing new signage up in that area. We also had a report from the school district on goose removal. There's a very nice article in the Amery Free Press this week addressing that issue. I had to say that. And I believe that's all we discussed.
Okay, thank you. Public Safety.
The Safety Committee met on May 22nd. We've had a couple complaints and issues regarding city ordinances on property cleanup, noise, parking, and public nuisances. So we're working with the police department, Public Works, and all our employees. Is basically, we want to make sure that people are aware of ordinances such as junked vehicles, things like that. So if people call in, that our employees observe this, see this, that we make the step to notify people of their violation, what they need to do, and then if they don't comply, then the next step we're gonna have to do is whether it's city crew cutting grass because it's a violation there, or a ticket being, whatever the next step would be on the property. The goal is we want to have neighbors that can live next to other neighbors without having junk vehicles and trash all over the place and stuff that are in violation of our ordinances. So we want to make it a environment for everybody. So we talked quite a bit about that and how we can work through to make sure that people are aware. If you have a neighbor and you've tried talking to them, it's not working, you can contact Fran, contact the police department, contact city, you know, depending what the case is, so that we can make contact to let them know what our codes and our ordinances are. And a lot of them are regarding, like I said, junked vehicles and junk property and loud noise complaints and things like that. That we have. So we're working on trying to get that clarified in the city. If you have any questions, please check our website, contact us if you're not quite sure what you can and can't do. We also, there was some issues with the weather sirens not operating that week of the tornadoes back on May 16th, the tornado warning being issued. So we're checking to see, and then also making sure with personnel from fire department being at Golden Age Manor, so that's a place for people with trailers who don't have basements that can go to. There was a little bit of confusion, and we're trying to work out that to make sure it runs smooth. Because we're into this season, potentially probably more warning signs coming out. We want to make sure everything is working and up and running. That was our safety committee meeting. questions?
Okay. Moving on to old business. Finance Committee making a recommendation on the campground fees. Do we need a motion? Probably.
I'll make a motion, we change the campground fees from $40 a day to $30 a day.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. More discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. New business. Cedar Corp update on our Flagpole Park lift station.
I'm not sure exactly where you want me to set these up. Let's see if I can maybe slide this back.
You can put them right here if you want.
Okay. If there's a better spot for you, or?
They don't need to be seen. I
Alright,
can go over next to Chris. Here.
I'll try to sneak these in right here. Let's see. Put this here. I'll just grab my notes quick. Alright, so I'm Kevin Oyer from Cedar Corporation, and basically been hired to help out with the rehab project, the flagpole lift station rehab. We've been working with Alan and Chance on this project, so we basically want to come in front of the city council and kind of let everybody know where we're at status-wise. So one of the first things that we did was we looked at kind of the drainage area or the service area for the lift station per se. And right here is where it's currently located. So we delineated what areas are residential, what is commercial, conservancy, which is basically the park area. And then in addition to that, we looked at some of the future growth areas, 20 years out, how much additional potential growth could be coming into this particular lift station area. So we came up with the immediate around 160 acres that drains to it currently. And then for future, adding in the yellow area here, it's about another 7 acres. So not a tremendous amount of growth, but there is some provisions in there for it. So with those numbers, we anticipate there's going to be around 50 to 55,000 gallons per day of sewage that comes into the station. Then from there, so this is, so basically the configuration of what you have out there right now, and this is the dry well. So this is where all the, you have a tank that's down in the bottom, there's a bunch of valving, bunch of piping, the ladder, the pumps per se. And what we're looking at doing is actually converting that from a dry well to a wet well. Because we know there's high groundwater in this area, so it'd get to be pretty expensive to try to put a new station in per se. So we would, we're proposing to actually remove all the different items that are in there now. And then actually putting like a prefab building that's up on top. That would actually be where, where all the check valves, plug valves would be housed per se, instead of being down into the dry well, with the confined space requirements. We're trying to bring all those things up to the surface, and that's actually where your control panel would be placed, and we would be actually tying that into your SCADA system. And then the pumps themselves would be housed obviously down into the wet well, and they would be on a rail system so that, you know, the public works people could come out and through a service truck per se would be able to, you know, remove the pumps readily available or easy to take out. So basically, we're looking at a prefab building that would be manufactured at a different facility that would actually come out to the site and be installed, and it'd be fairly easy to do installation-wise. So with the building itself, there are a lot of options. And we've again been talking with Alan and Chance on trying to get an idea of which, you know, facade per se that they would be leaning towards. This is kind of the base model. And then from there, it's all to whatever the preference would be for the city. Obviously, you do have a lot of visibility down in that area. With you know, the highway be adjacent, there's really no tree cover or fences or any of those things. And I believe what we're leaning towards is this particular one right here. It is a vinyl siding. It does look like cedar. It would have a steel roof that's up on top. And you know, you'd have a heater in there, dehumidifier. Your control panel would be really easy available.
Is that a cast building or is that a stick building?
It actually would be something that's made in a building, manufactured, pre-built, that would just come out to the site.
It's stick built.
What's it made out of? Sorry.
Stick built with vinyl siding.
Yeah, it's like
That other one looks like a cast.
this is kind of the shell that they work off of.
Okay.
And then they add different, you know, if you want a brick fascia or a vinyl fascia or, you know, aggregate. Like I said, they can just do about anything that you would want. So for this particular model, and this includes, you know, all your valving, there would be provisions in there for hooking up for bypass pumping, a connection point for that. Heating, ventilation, control panel, that's around $90,000, $92,500 for this structure.
Then how much for the rest of it?
So basically what I did is today I went through and based on where we're at for construction plans, trying to get an engineer's estimate, we're around $180,000.
For everything?
Yep, for everything, yep, construction. So I think the council is looking for around $200,000, I think is what's in the
cap,
So that's, I don't know if there's any discussion on if everybody's.
What's the life cycle of this? How long is this thing gonna last?
The building itself will have a 10-year warranty. The structure, I mean, 50 years, I think, comfortably.
How about the lift station itself though?
Typically with the pumps and stuff, I mean, there is a warranty, it's like a 5-year warranty with them, but I think before you'd actually see any service that would be needed to them, it's at least 10 years out, depending on, you know, obviously what's coming into the station per se, if there's a lot of rags.
We have similar lift stations that haven't had to have any major overhauls in 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, I know pumps are a wear item. I mean,
Yep.
those you just have, I mean, it's like a fan belt. I mean, you just replace them, but the station itself, you know, we're replacing the whole thing up there because
Yeah.
it's not working anymore, it's outdated, it's served its life, so.
The concrete structure itself looks in really good shape. I've been down in that, and it definitely looks decent, so.
Can I ask a question about
Sure.
the alarm system and the telemetry? Because the other lift station we have on the other side of town,
Yep.
there's been, my understanding, there's been problems with that over the years, and the alarm's not functioning properly, going off in people's basements.
have been flooded, and Chris is going, yeah, my neighborhood. And things, and I guess a question I have, since we're building this new lift station,
Yep.
is improvements over the technology that we've had in the past to kind of ensure that we don't end up with a product that would have similar type of issues as what we went through for years with the other one.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be all tied into your SCADA system, so if you get, high level alarms or a pump fail, they'll actually send out a signal to the main controller, and then that'll send out a notice to Chance or Alan that you have some issues down there.
And it'll also be compatible with future upgrades. We've looked into
As
that.
well.
It'll be able to
Yeah.
upgrade with minimal cost. Yep, we've looked into that.
So
as
we
well.
won't run into that.
Well, and hopefully we'll have the dialer similar to what we put on Broadway. That'll give us an update of what's going on to our
That's
cell
worked well.
phones. That has worked very well. Also, one of the advantages, we're working with the same company, and Cedar Corp is going to get the, what do you call that? That we can't get into their system right now, but we're going to.
Integrator?
Yeah, the integrator. Right now, we always have to call them.
Oh,
We weren't smart enough in the past to get that information, but we're going to get that this time. That'll give us a little more advantage to maybe getting, if we need somebody else to work on it or whatever.
that's reassuring.
So, any questions on the building facade? Everybody's in agreement? Okay. So, from here then, schedule-wise, we're looking at starting to advertise it here next week. So that would be the June 13th. And that would have to run 2 times since it's a Class 2 notice. So that would happen on the 13th and the 20th. And then we would be looking at opening bids on Thursday, June 29th, 2 p.m. And then bring those results back to the next council meeting in July. So,
What's the date again, the bid openings?
we have down June 29th.
What's the construction schedule on this?
Typically with with the buildings and the pumps and controls, that's about 6 to 8 weeks lead time. So we have shop drawing reviews to do. So I think construction will probably happen in October this year, by the time you go through that whole process. I think construction-wise, you're looking at, a month to try to get everything completed. Again, a lot of the, you're gonna have the building as prefab, so it's just gonna come out. They'll hire a crane or a backhoe and set it in place, and then it's just making the physical connections to the existing piping and stuff, so. It should be pretty quick.
Sounds like a good photo op.
Yeah. So I'll open it up to any questions, any of the council members or staff members. Pretty straightforward.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Only if you're an engineer.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 03-2017 in support of a recreational boating facility grant for the North Twin Lake Boat Landing. This is to go to the DNR and ask for some financial assistance.
This is the identical resolution to what we already passed
Oh.
earlier in the year, back in January. But the DNR, in processing our grant application, did ask specifically that we pass a new resolution to reflect the change in staff here and who had signed it.
Okay. And also, I see they want to know how many voted for, how many voted against, and how many abstained.
Yes, they're very specific.
Entertain a motion to
I'll make a
pass
motion
this.
to approve Resolution 03-2017. A resolution in support of a recreational boating facility grant for North Twin Lake Boat Landing.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the resolution. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay. Item number 12, agreement for operation of municipal court for the city of Amery, village of Clear Lake, town of Clear Lake, and village of Clayton in Polk County, Wisconsin. Is there anything you need to speak to that about, Fran?
Yeah, Tim is probably the most knowledgeable about it,
Okay.
as being chief of police in Clear Lake and being a council member and working with our municipal court, is that the village of Clayton would like to join with the Amery municipal court system. Currently, we have the city of Amery, the village of Clear Lake, and the town of Clear Lake, and the village of Clayton also would like to enter into an agreement to join our court as well. So that requires the actual agreement itself, which you've got a copy of in your city council packet, and then what we pass an ordinance. And Tim, do you have any comments you'd like to offer on any of it?
It's a mirror image of the existing agreement and the existing ordinance. Nothing's really changed in them, other than we've added the village of Clayton. And anytime we add somebody or delete somebody from the municipal court, the joint municipal court, we need to pass a new agreement and resolution. Or an ordinance, sorry.
Okay, so this is the agreement.
So it's two things, there's an ordinance and an agreement?
There's an ordinance and an agreement, yes.
So entertain a motion for the agreement.
I'll make a motion to accept the agreement for the operation of the municipal court for the city of Amery, village of Clear Lake, town of Clear Lake, village of Clayton, in Polk County, Wisconsin.
I second it.
Motion made and seconded to the agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We are in agreement. Now we have the ordinance, which is 1-2017, creating a joint municipal court with the village of Clear Lake, town of Clear Lake,
Make-
and village of Clayton.
I'll make that motion for the ordinance 1-2017, creating the joint municipal court with the village of Clear Lake, town of Clear Lake, and village of Clayton.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to create ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving right
Just
along.
a side caveat to
Yes.
this, the town of Lincoln is interested in coming on board, and the town of Clear Lake is kinda on board. The town of Clear Lake has not completed their paperwork. They either have an agreement or not an ordinance, or they have the ordinance passed and not the agreement, whichever way that goes. The townships do not have an authoritative entity. They don't have a police department. They don't have a police contract with a neighboring community or sheriff contract, or even a constable. So in the future, before we allow communities on board, we're gonna ask them to ensure that they have an authoritative entity of some sort on board. Otherwise, we get them on board and there's no way for them to enforce any of their ordinances or any of their laws, and now we have this member of the municipal court that isn't contributing to the municipal court. So it's kind of a
But they
protection.
still get a vote at that point as to how things
Exactly.
run, yeah.
Exactly. So, the town of Clear Lake has been advised they have 12 months to do something. And so that'll take them into next year as well. And then we'll review it at the 12-month period. So, but it doesn't pay to have somebody, a member of the municipal court, if they're not utilizing the municipal court.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Parks Committee recommendation regarding the city signage on US Highway 8 in Apple River Township.
We met at length several times over this issue, and I guess the motion was that we would offer a letter to Polk County stating that and the state also, stating that if Peter Henry's design and application was approved, that we would remove the sign from the eastbound sign, which would be west of the junction of 46 and 8. So that's a motion from the
Okay.
Parks and
Recommendation.
Rec. Pardon?
Recommendation from the.
No, it's a motion.
Oh, well, I'll have to
Motion
second
to make
that.
a Motion made and seconded to recommend the city sign, about the city signage on Highway 8. More discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
As long as we're on the sign, and I believe, let's see, city signage, so we are legal to.
Okay.
I think we need to approach maybe the school or somebody to at least repaint, but maybe even redesign the sign, the eastbound sign, or westbound sign, I'm sorry, the one that's east of the junction. It doesn't look to be terribly bad, but it definitely needs some paint.
So is the church sign. I think the scouts did that the last time. So I guess if you're gonna add that sign, you might as well add the church sign that comes in from the north, up by North Park.
I think we should do most of them. The sign, I haven't paid attention to it lately, but the one at the Fabritech building, advertising the service organizations, I guess I would like to recommend that we have either the scouts or the school, or, if we have to hire somebody to do it, but that we look at and bring those all up to where they're at least look pretty good.
You mean spruce up the signs before WCCO TV comes to town?
Yes, yeah.
Good idea.
Okay, David, could you undertake that little project?
You got a paintbrush?
Yeah, the option to say no is not there.
Well, we don't really have, you're talking about just maintenance of the signs?
No, or maybe
replacement?
finding somebody in the community to do it,
Like the Scouts
like
group or
scouts or
something?
some of the.
Club ones, won't the service clubs themselves?
They usually do that one.
I know the women's club did theirs a year ago.
Did they?
It's
Yes.
probably just a word. I can't actually say that sign needs anything, because I haven't paid that much attention to it. So it may be perfectly fine, but I know that the sign on 8 up by Pure and
The Pure and
Simple
Simple.
needs some TLC.
Yeah.
And now's the time we should do it, so.
Fine.
Discussion to change the logo and the signs,
And, yeah,
the look of the signs.
if we're gonna do one on the west side, it should be matching with the one on the east side.
Possibly there is, but we aren't gonna do anything on the west side. That
thought
won't
they
be
were-
our sign anymore, period. If Peter gets his permission to do
But
that.
I thought David was checking the property across from there.
That wasn't part of the discussion from Parks and Rec that I'm aware of, was it?
I think what Rick was talking about is getting one of them green.
Oh,
signs
yes,
put on
we,
the opposite side of the road.
yeah. And I don't know if that's still in the works.
It's probably worth noting that we don't have anything in our budget for any
Right.
of the signs, and I know, I don't know that, they would need to be totally replaced or anything, but that is a substantial expense that you'd be looking at,
So-
and would take some time to gather
Yeah.
together the information.
So what I'd like to do is just repair the sign that we have. I mean, that's 3 colors of paint, I think, and
Red, white, and blue.
anybody that's
Black.
at least somewhat able to paint should be able to spruce it up and make it look nice, better, at least for the time being. And then we'll have to put it in the budget that if we're going to actually put the new logo up and stuff like that, that'll take some more. This is just a stopgap to make it look decent for the summer.
Rick?
Yes.
Last time Mike came and did those for us, I don't know if I've got anybody on the crew that has got the touch that he had, but I definitely would be willing to take them down and bring them in and spruce them up, as long as we're gonna keep the same sign.
Yeah.
The only thing we need to be careful of, I think, is if you take them down.
But the frame will still be there. All we
Okay,
do is pull it
all right, because somebody might say, no,
It's gone.
this went down, it's
Back.
gone now, so.
Yeah, now you have to
Well,
reapply.
take down one piece
You have
at
to
a
leave
time.
that
Yeah,
on the ground.
yeah.
Put it back.
Okay, well, whatever, if you have to hire somebody to do it, I think, there are people that work cheaper that can paint and follow the lines that they're on there.
We'll give it a.
Summer crew or something, yeah, or
We've
whatever.
been numbers.
All right. We don't need probably any action, just so long as you're,
Okay,
understand that's what we're gonna do.
all right. Overtime policy for our Public Works Department. Whose bailiwick is that?
Well, trying to think who can best explain it.
Sounds like you.
The employee, well.
Well, I have the policy right here, I can read it, but what we were trying to do is have we would like to be able to pay the overtime to the public works people that come in on weekends and evenings without having them having to work over the 40 hours, because it's if we have that requirement, the employees are not gonna come in, let's put it that way. They are right now, but going forward, they probably won't. So, we're asking that the city, on a per call basis, compensate the public works employees for these particular type of call-ins at the regular time and a half per hour. And that would be for non-exempt employees. Non-exempt employees scheduled to work weekend maintenance should be paid at a rate of 1.5 times the rate of regular pay. Non-exempt employees scheduled to work maintenance on city recognized holidays shall be paid at a rate of 1.5 times the regular pay rate. All hours worked should be clearly recorded, signed by the employee and the Director of Public Works or designee, and approved by the city administrator or designee. No payment should be made for work that has not been properly recorded. And that's kind of the gist of it.
I think the key point to this MOU is first off, that the employees are properly compensated in accordance with city policy, state and federal labor laws, but also that we're taking some control of the overtime, managing the overtime that is being paid out. Last year's overtime budget was $70,000, and that's a lot of money for a city this size in overtime. If the employees work it and they're due the compensation, then they need to be duly compensated, and that's what this MOU does, is lays out what that compensation is. But we're also empowering the Director of Public Works and his designee to manage that overtime to minimize the cost to the city.
That's right, yeah, we're asking Bones and Chance to manage the overtime, pretty much. So that's kind of what I'm not sure exactly if this is it is a motion. Yeah, so I'll be making the motion. That is my.
I'd like just to ask for a clarification on item 4B to make sure that I understand it correctly. When the employees, is the intent of the city council when the employees come in for snow and ice removal, that is paid at time and 1/2 automatically as a given? Or that it is, if it throws them over 40 hours a week, then what's over 40 would be paid at time and 1/2?
Correct.
Okay, I understand.
Second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to the memo on regarding Public Works overtime pay. More discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Alcohol licenses. So there were quite a few, Fran.
There is quite a batch of those every year.
Can we do those
As a batch?
as a batch? I mean, have the background checks and everything's been done?
Yes, did you want to make one motion for liquor operators and cigarettes, or an individual motion for those three categories? As far as the alcohol, and the liquor, and beer licenses goes, probably the only major change from last year would be that the Countryside Co-op has applied for a Class A liquor license. In the past, they've held a Class A beer license only. They want to add liquor to their offerings, the same as what Freedom did a couple years ago. And also the intent of Quick Trip will be to also be able to sell liquor. And they're asking for that ability as well. They haven't held that license in the past, but they've applied for that license this year. So on the liquor end of it, that is basically, really only anything that would be a substantial change from last year. The operators' licenses, as listed, have been researched, had the background checks done. They're ready to go, and the same can be said with the cigarette licenses as well.
Have all the licenses come in and they've been, I know in the past we've had
Some
trouble
late,
with
yeah.
some people not getting in their applications right away, so,
Well, we did have, a couple of latecomers that are gonna be assessed a late charge when I send their bill.
okay.
But everything was in accordance with the requirements
So
and the statutes to
nothing
grant the
outstanding.
license to
Okay,
them.
thank you.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the liquor licenses as listed.
Seconded.
Motion to accept the liquor licenses. Discussion?
I just want to point out that I told you so.
With one comes the others.
Pretty soon we'll have one in every building and business in town, so.
Well, maybe not Ellie's. Okay. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Operators licenses. Same thing.
I make a motion to approve the operators' licenses as listed.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded to approve operator's license. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Cigarette licenses.
Make a motion, we approve those that are listed.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve those tobacco licenses. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Was there one more item that we were going to take care of, or?
Can we take care of that? Because I see when we came out of closed session that it said discuss the recruitment, but it didn't discuss the item 2 in closed session. Is that what you're leaning at?
Yes, are we going to discuss that?
I would make a motion as long as we can do that.
I don't know why we can't.
I think,
Because number 4 says we convene an open session and,
Discussed in closed session.
yeah, so 4 would cover.
So we're back on item number 4?
Yes.
Jogging around.
Just making sure.
Just a little bit.
Yes.
After discussion in closed session about item 2, the management analyst position, I would make a motion to to pay the health and dental in lieu of payment starting from January 1st, 2017. Increase his salary between now and the end of the year by $3,000 and prorate the benefit time that he would have accumulated this year. So we're at,
That was my understanding of what you're doing.
thank you. It was a while ago, there was a lot of stuff between then and now.
A lot of stuff going on.
Second the motion.
Motion made and seconded for the management position. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now, any questions from the press or the public? You have
press
30
is the public.
seconds.
30 seconds? Oh, boy. Let's start with that one. I was under the impression that David was a contract employee.
You're wrong. He's not a contracted employee, he's a regular employee, as a
Well,
W-2.
he was contracted to do a water recreation study, a walkability study, and some other unfinished business. That's where I understood it to be left. Did that change at some point?
Yeah, that changed as of January 1st of 2017. David was hired about a year ago as a contracted position to do those specific projects. And then what came out of discussion by the city council and the committees at budget time was that it was a full-time, regular city employee position as of the first of the year.
Okay, I don't remember that, so, okay, thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
All right, the campground, what discussion led to the back and forth and reversal of the previous decision? Now we're back to where we were before.
Well, basically, when we set the fee at budget time, if you recall last year, we had just a really limited number of folks that had camped there because we weren't ready till late in this camping season to actually accept campers. So when it came budget time, the fee was set, I wouldn't say arbitrarily, but it was set maybe without all the information that we were able to assemble at this time now. And we actually got quite a bit of pushback from the fee that was set from campers that said, oh, I'm sorry, then I'm not gonna come, I'm not gonna stay for that. Others that said, well, I guess I have to because I gotta do this, and we just felt like, maybe we'll undoubtedly revisit that amount of cost, but at least get the thing off the ground. We wanna make, better we have 6 of them in there at $30 than 1 or 2 at $40, so that was the reasoning.
Yeah, we compared to with what other
We did
sites
compare.
are around the area are charging.
And then, is there a timeline for the recruitment of the city administrator, or is that not in the works?
There is kind of a timeline, but it's kind of, we're at the mercy of the recruiting person that we're gonna hire. It can be anywhere from the fall into the first part of the year. So we don't have a real definitive timeline just
There's a
yet.
proposed timeline, but it's in kind of a state of flux because you can't guarantee how long each individual step will take, but there is a proposed timeline.
Right, okay. And the proposed timeline is what?
I was looking for that.
It's in here.
The final hiring would be between October and January 1st.
Yep,
Hopefully.
So the process will begin,
June 23rd.
yeah, so.
So would that require a budget amendment then?
That was what we did in that motion when we had,
No, not for the firm.
oh,
To hire a city administrator, would that require a budget amendment?
If it were to happen,
Before-
if it were to happen that fast,
yeah,
that would require
in
an
October.
amendment.
But if it's budgeted for the beginning of the year, that would be in our budget meeting.
Okay, yeah. And then the last thing is about this municipal court thing. Does that add like a lot more workload to the executive staff or, no, okay, we're not worried about that. Okay, that's all I have.
30
Just
seconds.
say no.
Motion to adjourn?
Probably not.
And this is probably, you commented to me
10 and 20
on
applications.
short council meetings, so this makes up for it.
I see that.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Somebody made a
Rick made.
I did.
Second?
Motion to adjourn, all in favor? Aye. We are adjourned, thank you, everyone.